Hey everyone, welcome back to the Wise Mindset Guy podcast. I'm your host, Nat Palestino. Today's episode is going to be a fun one, a little brain workout, if you will. We're talking about what is normal, or more importantly, what lies beyond it. What does it even mean to be normal, and who decided what normal really is? I'll tell you this, the deeper you dig, the more it seems like normal is just this invisible rule book that everyone thinks they're following, but no one's actually read. So let's dive in, break it down, and see where we land. All right, so let's start with the basics. You hear normal all the time, right? Let's say, I just want to be normal, or why can't you be normal? Parents love that one. But have you ever stopped to think about what that actually means? Most of us probably haven't. Normal is like social Velcro. It sticks people together with a shared understanding of what's acceptable, what's comfortable. But the funny thing is, even though we all live by it, normal is this huge moving target. What was normal 50 years ago or even 5 years ago could be completely different from what's normal today. Imagine if we had to go back to the 1800s and explain to someone that in 2024, it's totally normal to get into a big metal tube, a plane, which flies through the air at 600 miles per hour, or while binge watching 10 hours of true crime documentaries. They probably think you're possessed. And we tell them, oh, and also, we stare at little glowing rectangles in our hands all day for fun. Cell phones. That's our normal, but it would be beyond weird to someone back in the 1800s. So here's the thing. Normal isn't this rigid rule we think it is. It's constantly changing, adapting, reshaping based on culture, technology, and the times. And who decides it? Well, kind of everyone and kind of no one at the same time. There's no official board of normalcy in some secret basement deciding what's in and what's out. It's more like a rolling vote where people, cultures, and societies influence each other. So why do we care so much about being normal? Well, it's wired into us. Humans are social creatures. We love our tribes. Fitting in feels safe. It's like saying to the world, look, I'm not a threat. I'm just like you. Back in the day, if you were too different, the tribe might just leave you behind while they went off to hunt, which, as you can imagine, wasn't the best thing for survival. We may not be the Stone Age anymore. We're not in the Stone Age anymore, but the desire to belong still lives strong in us. Now let's look at what lies beyond the normal, because this is where things get interesting. When you go beyond normal, when you let go of trying to fit into everyone's box, that's where creativity, innovation, and unique perspectives come from. Think about it. Some of the biggest game changers in history were anything but normal. They were weird. Take Albert Einstein. Do you think he fit into normal? The guy had wild, messy hair, and apparently he once walked into a classroom he was teaching and said, I have no idea where I'm supposed to be. He was on a completely different wavelength. And because of that, he completely transformed physics. And there's, Frida Kahlo. Her art went beyond what were used to. She painted raw, personal experiences in a style that wasn't traditional at all. And now she's celebrated around the world. Or even in the modern times. People who've changed the game, like Steve Jobs. People thought he was a little strange. He was obsessed with simplicity and design in a way that most tech companies hadn't cared about before. He saw things differently, went beyond the normal, and now we have iPhones that basically rule our lives. So here's a fun thought. Maybe being weird or different is just being on the edge of the next normal. People who are a little different, who don't fit the mold, They're often seeing things that most of us haven't caught up to yet. If no one ever pushed beyond what was normal, we'd be stuck in one place, doing the same things over and over again. Life would be like an endless rerun. And who wants that? But let's be real here. Stepping out of normal isn't easy. We're talking about being willing to stand out, maybe even be judged. Sometimes people who break away from the crowd are misunderstood, or they're called strange or rebels. We're not all born to be the next Einstein. But here's the good news. Going beyond the normal doesn't mean you have to go all out genius level. Sometimes it's just about letting yourself be you, embracing what makes you different, even if it doesn't fit with what's typical. Maybe for you, it's having a quirky hobby or dressing in a way that makes you happy but isn't mainstream. Or maybe it's about having a unique way of thinking, something that lets you solve problems differently. Whatever it is, leaning into what makes you different can bring out things that others might never see. And that's powerful. So how do we start looking beyond normal? Well, first things first, we have to let go of the idea that normal is something we have to live up to. Normal is just a bunch of lines we've drawn because they make us feel comfortable. But guess what? You don't have to live within those lines. You're allowed to color outside of them. Try this. Next time you feel like you're about to do something weird or different, just go with it. You might find that your weirdness is exactly what someone else needed to see. It could inspire someone or help them feel okay with their own quirks. You never know. Because when we go beyond the normal, we open a door to new possibilities. It's like looking at the world with fresh eyes. And hey, it's a lot more fun to be yourself than to try to fit into some invisible rulebook that no one can agree on. Life's too short for that. Being authentically you, quirks and all, is what makes you uniquely human. It's what gives color to life. So that's our episode for today, folks. Hopefully, we've stirred up some thoughts about what normal really is and encourage you to step outside the lines every now and then. If you got a story about a time you went beyond normal, I'd love to hear it. Send me a message on social media or on my website. Love to hear from you. And thanks for tuning into the Wise Mindset Guy podcast. Remember, normal is a moving target. So why not enjoy the journey of being you? Until next time, stay curious, stay open-minded, and above all, stay a little weird. This is Nat Plastino signing off. See you next time.